Well, it looks like to me that the bees have migrated from another hive. Basically what happens is when hives are established somewhere, the queen is hatching eggs. The hive, then grows. Uh, the hive grows very rapidly, and then it gets a little overly crowded wherever it is they are established. And then there's always a migration. We call it a migration or a split. And part of the nest with the old queen leaves the nest with part of the bees, part of the hive, and then they migrate to a new location for them where they can, they're going to find a place where they can live and be happy and strive. So these bees must have migrated, landed on the chair, which is quite common, and they wanted to rest. They needed a little time to rest in flight. Once they do that, they'll rest for maybe a couple of hours. It could be a day or two or three. And then they usually will move on all by themselves. And they will find a place where they could live permanently.
Sorry, is Jupin calling?
Here's the way it works. The bees need to feel comfortable. So if nobody's around them, nobody's bothering them, and there's not a lot of traffic and loud noises, they just rest. And then they also, while they're resting, some of the bees will go out, little food for the rest of the bees and stuff. And then, they'll regroup and then they'll leave, all by themselves. That's what usually happens. Now, sometimes they can stay. They just decide to stay for some reason a little bit longer. That's when people get a little uncomfortable. And then hopefully they will call someone like myself who does a live relocation, and then we preserve them once we get them and we take care of them. Well, actually, in California where we live, the weather's pretty nice, right? We have sun most of the year. So as long as it's sunny, as long as we've had rain and moisture, and the flowers are blooming, and the bees can eat, then the bees will strive, and they will, do very well in their hive wherever it is they are. And then they'll grow like this. Now, if it's a healthy environment with all the things that I just described, they got food, water, and different elements like that, no chemicals in the air, they will strive, and they can do this every 2 to 4 months. So it just depends on how healthy the hive is, how busy they are, and they'll do that. They'll split. Now, sometimes you will see this type of, event where the hive will land on a chair or tree branch, or kind of like what you guys just saw. They'll land in different locations where it's very obvious to the public. Sometimes that could be from a location where they weren't doing so well, and then they decided to leave. Maybe ant colony decided to invade their hive, and they were forced to leave and forced to relocate by themselves. They'll do that, and they'll find a new place. Yeah. They needed the rest. And, it's good not to panic. I would say in the future, if anybody sees this, whoever's listening, if they see this, just be gentle with them. They don't need to hose them down. They don't need to spray them. They don't need to panic. They don't need to call anybody to kill them or anything like that. Not there to hurt anybody. They're there just to do their thing. You have to be able to know how to grab the queen. That one swarm that was on the chair, that's a little bit easier than most jobs we do, because the bees get into roof structures, wall voids, all kinds of, different things. And they're all a little bit tricky. But the main objective is to gently, physically remove them. Sometimes I use a little bit of smoke to move them into a box. I usually handle them and then do a little smoke, and coerce them into the box. And they'll go right in there. But it really does take a skill, someone that's been doing this for some time, I would say. Because I've seen a lot out there. They're little species that are flying around doing their part. They are creating food for us. They're pollinators, or one of the pollinators of the world, and one of the most important pollinators of the world. One of the most important species, insects. They're not really even an insect, but they're really important for us humans, because they help create our food that we eat. Now, we love to eat, we need to eat. So also they create the food for us. They also create it for them, but they help pollinate the whole planet. So we do need them. It's just as if we wanted to save our dog or our cat, take them to the vet if they get sick. Different elements, bees can get sick, so we have to take care of them. We have to help them like they're helping us. So bees are very important, just like everything else on this planet. And we all have a purpose, right? We all have a purpose to be on the planet. Theirs is one of the most important part of the insects. They're the most important insect, I would say, on the planet.